Welcome back to Change Greer's episode 9. Today we have special guest Brian Armstrong. He's the athletic director here. And Ben, you kick it off for us.
So just started off here, what are the main responsibilities of an athletic director?
It's hard to kind of put that in a few, a number of small words. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but primary responsibilities is overseeing all the athletic programs, whether that's hiring of coaches, dealing with practice schedules, facility scheduling, scheduling for non-league contests, league contests, and on top of that is just making, facilitating all the game workers for the games and making sure that we got people taking tickets or we got referees at the basketball game, that type of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it that's kind of behind the scenes that not everyone sees. You come to the game, all that stuff that happens at the game is part of all that. Part of my responsibilities on top of supervising, managing coaches and checking in with them and making sure that they have all the support that they need, whether that's through equipment or having enough resources to help support them to be successful coaching our student athletes.
Sweet. So how did you get into being an athlete? AD, call it AD for the rest.
Kind of my journey started with coaching. As soon as I graduated from high school, I kind of got into coaching, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I got into teaching and coaching. And so that kind of led me down this path. I was a longtime coach and teacher, and I wanted a new professional challenge. And so I started the process of getting my administrative license and knowing that, playing high school athletic sports was a big part of my growing up and my journey growing up. And that's what I remember from high school is the sports and my teammates. And I see that there's value in it and I think it's important. And so I wanted to be able to have a job that kind of aligns with that. And so that's kind of one thing led to another, and this is kind of where I'm at.
That's awesome.
What were the qualifications that you were required to do to become one?
Well, I think it depends on each school district. Obviously, coaching experience, I think, and teaching experience is important. In the Salem-Keizer School District, I also have to have an administrative license, so I'm also an assistant principal, so I have to get an additional license to be able to do this job. Some school districts will have athletic directors as basically all you need is a teaching license to do that. But I think what helped me get this job, I think, is coaching experience, teaching experience, but also being organized, being a good communicator, and also being relational, be able to relate with, interact with people and be able to have conversations and be able to be a good listener. Some of those skills that will be, you need in any job that you do.
Right. So you mentioned you do all the scheduling earlier. Does that mean every single sport? We're talking swimming to football, every single thing? Yeah.
So as my job athletic director, I do all the scheduling for all the sports, whether it be league scheduling. Part of each athletic director in our conference is in charge of a specific sport. So for example, I am specifically in charge of football and basketball. So I create the league schedule for those sports, and then when we have statewide meetings where all the athletic directors from 5A, 6A, they meet and we'll fill in our non-conference schedules. So, and I kind of help facilitate that. In terms of baseball, I'm the statewide scheduling chair for the baseball across the state, so I help organize and facilitate that meeting. So schools, when they want to try to fill out their non-league schedule, I set up the meeting, I run the meeting, and we kind of try to create matchups for each school so they have a complete and full schedule.
Gotcha. Sweet.
Do you collaborate with the coaches on a daily basis?
Yeah, I'm always in constant contact with coaches. It's easier for me to do that when coaches are in the building. We do have a handful of coaches that are not in the building, but I think it's a lot of just checking in and saying, if I'll see Coach Lewis in the hall and I say checking in and how things going, and we are in a lot of conversations, and so it's helps with knowing what's going on and how I can support. So
what would you say, that's what you got a big workload obviously, what would you say some of the bigger challenges are that you face and have to overcome?
Challenging, I think, is recently challenging with transportation and getting officials. We've had to making a lot of adjustments of our schedules based upon availability of officials. I think that's a big challenge. I think the challenge that we're also facing too is making sure that we have facilities that our school facilities are great, but they're old, and so challenges of trying to as you guys know, as playing football, that you've had late practices because we've only
Right.
got one turf field, and so that's a challenge of. Ideally, I'd love to be able to have every program practiced right after school, and we just can't
Right.
do that. So trying to find that balance is also a challenge as well.
Can you describe like a typical day for you, like what you would go through?
Depends on the day. So case in point, so last Tuesday we had our basketball games, and so typical day, I get here, 7:38 and doing, whether that's answering emails, just a variation thing. I might do some teacher observations and meet with parents. I might have an IEP meeting, and then as soon as the school, so it's typical like assistant principal work type, and there during the day, and there will be some meetings. I might call an athletic director about, hey, we have a baseball game scheduled in April. Let's confirm time. So there's a lot of little things like that, and then after the school day's done, I kind of help support our game workers to help get the gym set up. So on Tuesday, we had a stat game with North Salem, and so part of that day too is I found out Tuesday morning that our JV girls lost their game against Wilsonville. So I had to go through all this communication to tell people that game wasn't happening. And then then that's one of the things I did on Tuesday, and then back. After school day's done, helping ready to make sure the gym's set up, making sure our ticket takers are set up, and then it's just managing the games throughout the day. And we had senior nights that day, so making sure that we had roses and doing all that stuff. And then once the game is done, the last game got done about 9:50. Got the gym cleaned up, and I was probably out of here by 10:30 after everything was put away. So I mean,
that's a long day.
It's a typical.
hectic.
It's a long day, and sometimes those long days are 3 or 4 days a week. But
With all that, what do you enjoy about it though?
Honestly, interacting and being around the kids, watching a practice, just to being able to sit on the sidelines and watch a practice, talking to kids, interacting with kids. That's what brings me joy in this job, is just seeing kids out there having fun and knowing that all the stuff that goes behind the scenes to help facilitate so our student athletes can have a positive experience, whether it be on the baseball field or the track or whatever that is. So
Sure. So we just want to wrap it up here. Like, we know you went to South, you played football here, and then you coached. You want to
Rewind
speak
it a
about
little.
that
Sure.
a little bit, just to end it off there?
Yeah, I graduated proud Saxon. I grew up as a little kid coming to South, watching basketball games, football games. Graduated here in 1992, played football. I was fortunate enough to be on a team my senior year. We played for the state championship. We lost, but we had a great experience. We were injured. Don't know that we would have won if we were healthy, but it was a great experience. And then
For sure.
I started coaching shortly after I graduated, and coached. Started coaching here, 1993, and was a teacher and coach here off and on up until I started my administrative pathway, which I guess that would have been around 2012 or so, somewhere around there.
Nice.
And had a lot of great experiences. It's fun when former players come back and you get to see them. That's a really cool thing, part of the job as well. But when I was a student here, I played basketball for 2 years. And then I was also here when I was a student. I was in choir and did track, and so I tried to make sure I got connected, involved, and had a great experience here in my high school time. So.
Well, we appreciate having you on, hoping to shed some light on all the things you do behind the scene. We really appreciate having you and fitting you in that tight window. You got a lot of going on, so we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.